touch upon three key points of greenwashing. Not so much what is greenwashing, but how it works, when it happens, and especially how we can prevent it. And I would do that by relying on some research results that we have achieved in our research team at the university. So I will not linger on the definition of greenwashing. It has been already dealt with. I would like to emphasize three key aspects of greenwashing that need to be understood if we really want to understand the phenomenon. First, there is greenwashing when there is a potential impact on the market. So when the claims are able potentially to influence consumer decisions. That is a key point. Second, as you can see from the first definition, greenwashing can be intentional, can be unintentional. It can be just unfounded claim in the eye of the consumer. Doesn't matter. The effect is exactly the same. I have greenwashing insofar as the consumer is biased, is influenced. So whenever you see something on a claim that could be not intentionally biased, well, you have to think that that is greenwashing in any case. And I think it's the largest part in the industry. They don't want to, influence negatively. They don't want to mislead the consumer, but they do it in any case because, well, we will see why. Third key aspect, doesn't matter where the message comes from. The European Commission has said it very clearly. It could come even from a color. If you paint your ad green, that could be greenwashing. So watch out. It could take many different shapes, and this makes things even more complicated. When does greenwashing happen? Well, very interesting data on consumer. To me, it is very important to understand how consumer perceives information. And in this case, this is a very good survey carried out by National Geographic, who created an index of trust. Well, greenwashing is the lack of trust of consumers in what companies say. And this is very dangerous because the lack of trust is undistinctive. So whenever the phenomenon of greenwashing mounts, consumers are induced to consider all the green claims as fake, as greenwashing. That's very dangerous because you put everything into one pot. Also the good companies saying real things and trying to sell their product on a good, reasonable basis. How big is the problem? Are we talking about something that is happening a lot, or are we talking about a unique phenomenon? Well, data are undisputable. There is a rising trend that tells us that companies are increasingly talking about environmental, green, sustainable performance of their products. Percentage are rising sky high. Everybody talks about the environmental performance. I have this very recent research carried out together with the GS1. GS1 is the consortium who is managing the barcode, and they just screen the pack. Don't look through the table. Don't try to read it. I'm just telling you one thing. In Italy, at least, 15% roughly of all the pack of all the product you have on the shelves includes either a claim or some sort of certification or self-certification dealing with sustainability. Okay, 15%. This figure was not even thinkable a few years ago. Okay, so the phenomenon is quite developing a lot. And also, we've talked about certification. Watch out for certification. Quite interesting, the Washington Post, so very reliable source, a few months ago, pointed out that there is a sort of 2.0, greenwashing 2.0, because companies, they have realized that the consumer wants reliability, certification. So what they do is, well, they kind of, figure out the way of having certifications that are, let's say with a euphemism, less reliable than they should be. So they're using certification, but it's not grounded on a very solid basis. If you're wondering how greenwashing is affecting your real life, well, these are pictures that have been taken in my hotel room this morning, okay? And I can tell you that only one of these claims would pass a greenwashing test. The other would not, okay? So just this morning, think of your day-to-day life. I'm not going to tell you. You have to find out on your own after my presentation. Well, we have carried out similar surveys, so I'm skipping on this. More or less, the data are comparable. I have to say we have looked for potential greenwashing. This is a survey carried out on more than 1,300 ads on the press, the Italian press, so newspapers, magazines, journals, whatever. We cross-analyze all the ad page by page with the criteria of ISO 14021. For those of you who are expert, you know that. No? It is the standard of the ISOs telling how to communicate in a proper way. Well, take a look at these. Up to 84% of those ads were running into a strong risk of being greenwashing. 84%. It was just potential, okay? We didn't have the means to verify. But the dimension of this is huge. So you could ask yourself, then what is greenwashing now? How would I be able to identify greenwashing in advertising? Literature tells us that there are several ways, and there are several capital sins of greenwashing. Let me give you just a few examples. I'm running very quickly through this. Each of the sin has a counterpart in a good principle of the ISO 14001. It's a mirror, okay? So for example, hidden trade-off. What does it mean? Well, a claim narrowing on one aspect, well, the real environmental impact is elsewhere. So for example, this bed, this makes me laugh a lot, and it's bad saying it is ecological because you sleep well, your dream are not disturbed by metal components of the bed, regardless of the fact that the bed is made of wood. And so one wonders where the wood comes from. It might be much more important than small pieces of metal. Or talking about recycling, but forgetting that you have many other environmental aspects that might be even more important. No proof, that's one of the worst. No proof means you're not adding information or third-party certification. So you're just stating that there is a sort of benefit, environmental benefit connected with the product, but you're not able to demonstrate, to add information and details for the consumer in order to understand. I will get back to this in the last part of my presentation. Vagueness, it has been told. Vagueness is, I'm talking about things that, well, might be misunderstood and they are not true per se. For example, saying that one ingredient is natural doesn't mean a thing, because natural means that, well, a lot of metals are natural, are in nature. And on the other hand, you have synthetic polymers that they have a very low environmental impact. So what counts is not if it's natural or not, but what is the environmental impact. And that is greenwashing. Not to mention false labels, and we have them a lot in advertising. Companies that are trying to even present their brands with a logo that resembles a sort of a stamp of a certification to give the impression that has been certified by someone else, which is not, by the way. So you will find that more than you know. Irrelevance. Well, this is even more diffused. You talk about one thing that it's not relevant for that product because any other product could say more or less the same thing. Okay, so if you talk about CFCs, you got rid of CACs. I bet there is the Montreal Protocol back in 1986 who is banning these substances from the market. So saying no CFC today is not a lie, but it's greenwashing in any way. Or yeah, we had also jellyfish, love for nature jellyfish, but then you find out that these clothes hooks, they were made by metals with chrome and so on. The lesser of the two evils. I'm sorry, the graphical part has been a little bit puzzled, but lesser of the two evils means you're telling the truth, but once again, your performance is not that good. And I have no chance of knowing it if I do not compare it with something else, with a competitor or with the average of that sector, with a benchmark whatsoever. So if I tell you that my paper product is 35% recycled, well, 35% is by default. One thing important to know would be, where does that recycled paper come from? It is post-consumer, or is a scrap from the production process? If it is a scrap, I can tell you 35%, every paper industry can reach that level. So it's true, but it's greenwashing if I'm not comparing it. And then last but not least, no offense to anybody, but there is simply someone who's telling, I wouldn't say lie, but totally incorrect things, because maybe it's totally unaware of what he's saying. But whenever you see on a pack of a product zero emission, there is no way that a product with its life cycle, with its supply chain, emits zero CO2 or any other greenhouse gases. So zero would probably be the result of offsetting, insetting, whatever. But if you say this on a pack, it's greenwashing. I'm about to finish by pointing at the most important problem here on the table, because greenwashing could be harmful if it doesn't change things, if it doesn't impact on the market. So we had to study that. And, an article was published on a international review a couple of years ago, studying the effect of being a greenwasher or being silent on the market, or having a good green marketing campaign which is honest, which is telling the truth. So we compared the four situations, okay? Greenwashers, vocal firms. Vocal means I'm green and I'm saying it because I have no worries. And silent firms. Silent firms, maybe they are shy. They might be green, but they are shy, or they are aware that they are polluting, so they're silent. How this affects competitiveness? This is quite interesting. Well, lucky for us, the best performers are vocal green firms. So if I'm doing things that I should be proud of, I'm improving my environmental performance, I'm excellent, I'm a top runner, I say it with a green marketing campaign, I got the better payback on the market. But watch out. Second, as effects on performance is greenwashing. So greenwashing is better than being silent. That's quite scaring. It means that all the companies would be incentivized to talk about the environment in their marketing campaign, because they think they would get an advantage even if they cannot, theoretically. And the worst thing is they really got the advantage, or at least more than being silent. So that's why greenwashing is exploding, actually. We have solution. Yes, the European Commission has mentioned the solution. Other than DG Justice, we have, for example, DG Growth with this traceability, information related to the life cycle of the products, okay? The product passport, in few words, and also the DG Environment with these substantiating green claims initiative that probably will insist on the need for third-party certification of life cycle assessment studies, for example, saying what is the environmental footprint of the product. So information and certification, these are the two pillars to fight greenwashing. Is that true? Well, we carried out, again, a huge study on a very wide sample of consumers to see on what kind of variables they were decided to buy green products or not to buy. Unfortunately, the price is negatively correlated, because we know that green products sometimes very often they are more expensive. We have what I call the pink effect. So female shoppers are buying in a more aware and responsible way. Chapeau, it always happens. But we have also the green effect, which is they decide on certification, third-party certification, and information. So this is the way to go, okay? This is the way in which you should capture the attention of a responsible consumer, overcoming the risk of greenwashing. Last but not least, I'm sorry about that, I'm really very proud about this. I'm really walking 2 feet from the ground. 2 days ago, an article has been accepted by an international journal saying that finally, it's like 20 years I'm repeating this, nobody believes me, now I can prove it. Consumer is not dumb. Consumer is not stupid. You don't have to simplify too much the message that you're telling, through which you're telling the consumer this product is green. You could also use indicators coming from a life cycle analysis study, for example, or indicators coming from the taxonomy, because the consumers, hear me, they want to decide upon scientific evidence. And it's no way that this results in too many information or too complicated information. Too few information and too simplistic information could result in a biased choice on the market. So don't be afraid to use indicators, to use science to fight, as you do in the rest of your life, to fight fake news. And greenwashing is nothing else than a fake news. Thank you very much.